All right, we are in Rome. I think I've used that joke every year for the last few, but it still sticks. We're in Rome, my favorite Masters 1000 event I've ever been to, which I've been to, I think, like half. I was there in 2022. Amazing event, amazing venue. Djokovic is back. He's here after playing only 3 prior tournaments. I think that's got to be the first time in his career he's done that. Rafa is back. He's in Rome. The fans are stoked. And defending champ Daniil Medvedev is in the building. They call him Clay Videv in Rome because he won the tournament last year after being atrocious on clay for the previous part of his career. So we're going to break down the storylines of Rome. Sinner's not here. Alcaraz is not here. We're going to talk about what happened last week in Madrid, and we're going to look at the draw and give a preview and prediction. Thanks for being here. Let's get into it. All right. If you are new here, welcome to The Slice. I'm Steven. I'm the host, and this is the best place on the internet to get interviews, news, reactions, and analysis. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you. We're on the road to 20,000. And if you subscribe, you become a better tennis player. So that might be helpful for you. Thanks for being here. Big news, big stories in Rome are that, in my eye, Sinner and Alcaraz are not there. Why are these young guys still? Or we knew they were, on the last video, we knew they were going to miss this, but it's just disturbing to keep thinking about the amount of young players that are injured coming into this tournament. When we go through the draw, you'll see a bunch of guys who you're like, why are they not ranked higher? Oh yeah, they were injured for a long time. And it seems to just be a very common thing right now. So we'll get into that, but more on it. Last week, the week ended out with Felix Auger-Aliassime, our Canadian, losing to Andre Rublev in the final in Madrid. It was a great match. I don't know if you watched it, but we talked about how it was crazy in Madrid, how Felix was able to get to the final without having to play finish 3 of the matches that he was supposed to. He had 2 retirements and 1 walkover, Sinner in the quarterfinals. So that was a week that really has turned around, I hope, his last season and a half. And he got his ranking back up into the top 20, about 15 spots. So great week for Felix Auger-Aliassime. He did play good in that match. It was a close match. He could have gone either way. He won the first set. Rublev was really slow to the match, and he apparently was sick. So, and he kind of looked like it at the beginning. But that was a good match. Big win for Rublev, who had a terrible few weeks before Madrid. So that was how that ended. There was an amazing women's match as well. We weren't really able to get into it, but obviously Swiatek and Sabalenka playing in the final of a tournament is incredible, and it was one of the best women's matches of the year. So the big news, or not the big news. So anyways, coming into Rome, the storylines for me are, the biggest one is, how is Djokovic going to perform? Like I said, he's only played 3 matches before he comes here. Last tune-up event before Roland Garros. Does it matter? Does his form getting into play make a difference to how he's going to eventually do it at the Roland Garros? I don't know. People have been saying that he's just sitting on the sideline, watching Alcaraz and Sinner get injured, playing all these events. He's been chilling out, not playing, and he's going to roll into Roland Garros being the freshest player of them all. That may well be true. So we'll see if that happens, but it's going to be interesting to see how he can perform here in Rome and what his level gets to, because we can all agree, I think, it hasn't reached top Djokovic level at all in 2024. So on that note, let's look at the draw. There's the top quarter of the draw, roughly. We've got Djokovic as the number 1 seed. Obviously, Casper Ruud as the number 5 seed on the bottom of the draw. And in the first round, or the second round, his first match, Djokovic could play Corentin Moutet or Romain Safiullin, who both are super good players. Corentin Moutet, if you don't know, I believe he's left-handed, but he injured his right arm. So he's normally a 2-handed backhand player, but he's not been using his right arm, and he's just been hitting a one-hander and kind of having a crazy resurgence after a long time off through the Challenger Tour to get back to now. He's a lucky loser into a Masters 1000. He has a ton of character. He's a funny guy. So that could be an interesting first match for Djokovic. But he's got kind of Hanfman or Tabilo, Cerundolo, Shevchenko, obviously France. Cerundolo is a serious player, but a bit of a welcome, easy, soft landing, I would say, in this tournament for Djokovic. And then in the quarterfinals, he could play Shelton, who's in the quarter, or Casper Ruud. Casper Ruud beat him in Monte Carlo, so that is that would be a serious test if he got there. Ruud's been playing great, probably the best player on clay so far. So yeah, Djokovic's quarter. I wouldn't say the toughest quarter for him. I think he will get to the quarterfinals with no issues, is my guess. Zverev's quarter, third seed. He's got Dimitrov, who's been playing amazing tennis in it. He's got Shapovalov, who's already lost, our Canadian, to Darderi. Mariano Navoni from Argentina. He's quietly been sneaking up into the rankings. I've not watched much of him play. He's in his 16th there. And Greek Spur, Bublik Fritz, Taylor Fritz, Claylor Fritz is what he's calling himself. We'll see about that. Lost to Rublev in the semis last week in Madrid. France, Flavio Cabelli, a lot of good players, right? Korda, Musetti. Those are two of the guys, though, that I was talking about who I'm like, what direction are you heading in your career? I would have thought Musetti would be kind of like a solid top 15 guy by now. He's had injuries, though. That's probably why he's not there. He has been closer to there in the past. Same with Korda. I thought he would have been getting there by now, but I think his game, a lot of players are finding he's fairly one-dimensional. He also has had injury issues, and that's part of this whole storyline of like, why are all these young players injured so much? Back to this quarter, though, the Zverev quarter, Diego Schwartzman there, who's hanging it up within the year. That's sad to see. Yeah, just a bit of an interesting quarter there. Not sure how to read that one. Zverev, Dimitrov are my favorites to come through there. Fritz has played well, so you never know. Him versus Dimitrov. There's some talent down here in the bottom section of this quarter, so we'll see who comes out of that 8th. But in general, kind of like a hard to read quarter, in my opinion, for Zverev there. We go to the third quarter, which has Rublev, champion in Madrid, Tsitsipas, champion in Monte Carlo, Felix Auger-Aliassime, runner-up in Madrid, Demonauer, been playing great on the clay, been playing great all year. Hugo Humbert been playing great. Nicholas Yari, dangerous. So yeah, to me, that's like a very dangerous quarter. Thomas Macek, Matteo Arnaldi there. Yeah, just a pretty dense quarter when it comes to talent for me. So that one, I do not know who's going to come out of there. Rublev might be tired after his run all the way through Madrid with these longer, bigger draws. So that'll be interesting to watch. Hurkacz, the 7th seed in the Medvedev quarter. Number 2, defending champion, Medvedev could play Borna Coric or Jack Draper in the second round, and then he could play Davidovich Fokina in the third round, and then he could play Tommy Paul or Francis Tiafoe in the fourth round. And then in the quarterfinals, he could play Hurkacz or Runa. So tough draw for Medvedev. So if he was able to repeat here in Rome, I think that would be one of the most shocking things that we've all witnessed in tour, and especially on the clay swings, for a guy like Daniil Medvedev to come through and make an impact like that. So we will see about that. Predictions, very hard for me to make predictions here this week. I think Djokovic is obviously, I would put him as the favorite, even with his form not being up to his standard all through 2024. He's just won so many. It's just, he's on such a different level of career achievements, career winnings. You just got to give him a super big benefit of the doubt whenever he shows up to the tournament. So until proven otherwise, as far as like over months and months and months, I'm still thinking that he's got a very good chance to win a lot of the tournaments he enters. But a lot of other players, I will say, have belief that they can beat him. So if I had to make a prediction with Alcaraz and Sinner not there and Medvedev being the 4th seed, I'm taking Djokovic as the champion. One question I did not see going through this draw where Nadal was. There he is. Right there, right when I open it. He's in that was like blasphemous that I had to talk about him. He will play Zizou Berg's quarter qualifier in the first round. That's going to be interesting. Bergs is a good player. And we'll see if Nadal can build on what he did last week in Madrid, but he had a bit of a better draw there, not having to play a top 8 seed in the second round. So playing Hurkacz, that's going to be rough. Big serves, big strokes. can Nadal hang with him and play defense? Because it doesn't look like he can really play his top level offense at this point with his body. So we'll see. Is it just going to be another warm up event for Nadal before the French Open, or is he going to be able to make kind of some waves, beat Hurkacz, and make a run? What do you guys think? Does he have it in him, or what are we doing here? Are we just doing like a farewell tour for Nadal at this point? It's hard to know. But if he can get his body right and he's not worrying about that coming to the French Open, you never know. If there's anyone in tennis history that you shouldn't doubt going into a specific tournament, it's obviously Rafa Nadal at the French Open. So you're going to have to watch his matches. You're going to have to watch his matches. Anyways, that's a preview and prediction of the Rome Masters from The Slice. What do you think? Leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for listening on the podcast. Thanks for staying tuned to all of our channels. We will see you next time here on The Slice.